Hello everyone, my name is SiC. Welcome back to Factorio Space Age, where we have found our way to Gliba. Now, Gliba is a hot mess. I think it's very tricky here. I did modify this area a little bit more because we needed some ways to get rid of spoilage, which are all basically going back down here. And everything that we are making here, the bioflux, is spoiling because we do not get a reliable source of nutrients. Same here, things just don't spoil quickly enough, so we don't get nutrients quickly enough, and as a result we don't process all of this stuff that we're getting, and it's a mess. So we need actually a way to spoil things faster. I don't know what spoils the fastest. There should be a way for it, I guess. We can make nutrients from bioflux as well, actually. Oh, that's interesting. So for that we need biochambers as well. So once we do run this, or manage to get this to run, we should turn this bioflux into more nutrients, so we have a more steady supply of it. But to make biochambers, I need eggs. So we are going on the hunt. I think, yeah, we have one right there. So I'm going to kill some tentopods. Well, I'm just realizing something. We can also make it from Yumiko mash, which is maybe more efficient because it's closer to the source and it doesn't require the other thing. So the Yumiko mash, of course, yeah, we have it over here. So we are going to make a little bit of space. And by now I have quite a few eggs at the moment, so I can make a few more of these biochambers. I think we're going to go ahead and make a couple of them over here. And then we're going to feed the basic machine, or the basic area up here, with its own fruits or its own products, which I think is going to be super useful. So we're going to go ahead and, okay, so we're going to have to put this one over here. And then we're going to have an input. Of course, we are going to hook this up to the power as well. There we go. And we're going to make nutrients from Yumiko mash. And of course, this also needs nutrients, because of course it does, right? It's the only way it makes sense. We're going to exit this over here. We're going to go up, and then this can feed onto the side of that belt. Alright, of course we are going to have to put some spoilage into here, or up into here. Alright, so we're going to bring this over. Let's start with just a little bit. And then this is going to start producing the mash. Half of it is going to go up over here. Then we also need, yeah, we need to ways to output it. And this is going to filter out nutrients. And then of course we need a way to get the spoiled stuff out of here as well, in case things spoil. And that can go back onto this belt actually. So if we bring that over here, and get rid of some of these plants, which also give us some spoilage, which is great because we need it. Let's go like this. Right, and that is going to go onto that belt. So as soon as this yeah, stops working. Alright, so these things over here now have the nutrients, but not the plants itself. So we kind of need to feed this by hand for a little bit. Ah, did I not finish making this? Interesting. Alright, and I guess we need more as well. So the Gliba rocket is still over here. Let's get rid of all of these other requests. We'll turn this on, we'll get some transport belts sent up here, and then we're going to bring this over here with the heating tower, some iron plates and some copper plates. That is going to be great, because yeah, these seeds, they need to be brought back, of course, to go into these machines. And yeah, because they haven't been planting, we have not been receiving new seeds, and everything is at a standstill. So this is going to take a bit of time to set up until this is a completely self-sustaining loop, I guess. But that is going to be okay. All of these, yeah, look at that. They don't have the nutrients required. Alright, let's feed this by hand a little bit more, shall we? Yeah, look at that, the nutrients here are disappearing. Sadly, super annoying. Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time to set up by hand. Now we can feed this by hand with the stuff that we have. We can get rid of some more of these plants as well, because we need that spoilage and we need it now to bootstrap our production. Alright. As soon as this outputs some stuff, like, that will be good to go, but we just really need a little bit of this stuff. Come on. Nutrients. Give me nutrients. Crap. So everything, all of this spoilage is coming back out here. But here we go. We have some of these plants. Man, look at that. That is terrible. The lifespan of this is because these things, they spoil so quickly. The lifespan of the Yumako mash is really, really short. So what is that? Spoil time 3 minutes? No, no way. They've been in here for too long, I guess. Oh man. Alright, well, this is interesting in that it is very, very tricky. Alright, so we have our output, so every time we get nutrients, they get put out again. Oh, and I'm being called. Hold on. Well, I received a call, but that is done now. And in the meantime, I managed to get a little bit of nutrients up and running. And with that, actually, this one is running full time. And this output is humongous. Look at the amount of nutrients that we now have. And with that, all of this is now running full time. It does seem that we do need more of these arms every once in a while. And of course we'll have to space them out a little bit, and we'll have to filter them. And turn them the right way. But yeah, I have run completely out of transport belts, which is annoying and unfortunate. But yeah, we have 2K in here right now. I am bringing some other transport belts over here as well, but maybe for the time being I'm just going to send it over to where we are so we can continue building, because that is quite important. Yeah, in the meantime I've burnt a lot of my spoiled stuff. We have a ton of copper plates here already actually, and finally all of these eggs have disappeared. Alright, and then we'll dump some in the one at the bottom here as well, because this thing is still not running sufficiently. So that is something we need to fix as well, because we need to bootstrap the production of this one. I think that is important. This stuff is coming in now at full speed. Way more than we need, actually. Like a lot more than we need, actually. And with that, I suppose we can get rid of 2 of these and use it for somewhere else. Like, yeah, we could put another 2 in here. And I built a few more of these as well. Yeah, I really need belts, so we're going to wait for that. Alright, well, I think I now finally bootstrapped this place properly. So I finally did finish this belt going all the way up. And I realized I didn't actually have an output for the fruits on this thing, which is ridiculous. I know. So yeah, I put an output here so we can finally get rid of all of these fruits and have them input over here. The seeds are coming in, so this thing will be able to rip these plants out when they're finished and then output them onto this belt. And the seeds are coming back on top of this belt, as you can see, there it is. Now unfortunately we can only support one plant per square, so we don't have a ton of space, and we have used up some of the available space here already, unfortunately, but I think we're okay with the production that we have. As you can see, honestly it is quite a lot. Unfortunately I also need some spoilage for this to work, so we use 10 spoilage for 1 nutrient, which is honestly kind of nuts. But yeah, this needs to run. We need to have more spoilage for more nutrients, and then once we have that, I think this will kickstart itself properly, because we also now have an output. Like I put a splitter here, so we will have some nutrients coming in here along with the fruits, which are split off from over there, so we should be able to we need more power as well, so we don't have enough power, so we need to do something about that. That is kind of nuts, but I think yeah, we can expand this towards the left for quite some distance, and until we have like a proper supply of power, we're going to have to make do with the solar panels. The factory has grown already a little bit, I suppose, or enough that we need to put some more of these solar panel fields. Alright, and then I'm going to keep expanding these, but I think, yeah, as you can see now we are producing nutrients, and with that we are now producing more nutrients out of the Yumiko plants, which are now going in here, so now this is running full speed. And I think what we have created here is a little self-sustaining area of Yumiko mash. So that is really cool to see. And I think with this we are now okay for a little while. And I'll just make a bit more power and then I'll be right back. Look at these filthy organics, man. Look at it grow. They look like brains on a stem. It's just filthy. Anyway, I went through a ton of jelly nuts and processed them in hopes of getting seeds, and by now I've gotten around 10 of them. So this thing has planted a few, it has harvested a few by now as well, and this stuff is on its way, and hopefully at this point we have a self-sustaining little loop of this material as well. So let's see how that works out. I think we can get rid of all of the spoilage that we have here. This should not be grabbing spoilage, so we should put filters on here to only grab nutrients. Right, and then get rid of all the spoilage that is in these machines. Alright, here we go. So we have an empty, fresh start with these machines. Here we go with the jelly. With that, bacteria cultivation has now finished, and bacteria is what we use to make ores. So that is quite important. Bioflux processing has been researched as well, which is interesting because those are automatic things, and now we need to make 100 bioflux to get access to the agricultural science already. That is kind of crazy. Anyway, I think what we have here now is a self-sustaining area of both bioflux as well as well, Yumiko mash and jelly from the jelly nut, and then we should be able to make all of this, but except we need to get rid of all of that spoilage, of course, that we have over here. We can dump that into these over here for the time being. This is working now. No, it's still full of spoilage. Come on. Alright, so we have iron bacteria cultivation. What does that make? 4 iron bacteria. Okay, and copper bacteria cultivation. Okay, biosulfur from spoilage and bioflux. Bioplastic from bioflux and Yumiko mash. Biolubricant from jelly. Alright. That's a good way of getting rid of jelly that we don't need. And then we have rocket fuel from jelly as well. That is interesting. So we should be able to make a pretty easy form of rocket fuel here at least. Yeah, and we apparently cannot get rid of this other stuff fast enough. So let's just say we will put a filter on this thing. We're going to hook it up by a green wire. Well, actually, maybe that's not even necessary. We can just grab this off of here. We'll grab an underground belt so we can go all the way over here. We'll go sideways. And why are we going sideways? Well, we have our new heating towers, and I want to see how if they work with this here. So let us see if we can make something of extra power. Right, it accepts it as fuel, but it's instantly gone and we don't have any temperature. But that's okay, we just want to get rid of the spoilage really quick, and it's a good way of dumping it, I guess. So with this, we now have the bioflux, and with that we can start making new things. And then also here we need to have like a fast filter inserter. I don't know how long bioflux lasts. Like, what is that? 45 minutes. Alright, that's not too bad. Let's just empty this belt out for now, because there is some spoiled stuff on here and we don't want it. Yeah, alright. And then we need to dive into the tree again to see what we can do here, or what is important to do here, like pentapod eggs. We can make them now, I think, but I'm not sure what we need. We need nutrients, pentapod egg, and water. Oh, interesting. And if it spoils, we'll have enemies in our base. Alright, so maybe we should start with something simple. Let's do copper bacteria. So for that we require ingredients, aka Yumiko mash. It makes 10% copper bacteria and a bit of spoilage. And of course, as always, it's going to make that in... it doesn't actually say. That is interesting. Alright. I don't know how scalable this needs to be, but something tells me it needs to be pretty big. So we're going to put that over on this side. Alright, so let us start with this. Alright, so let's see, output priority on that side, and we will filter out only Yumiko mash and no spoiled stuff. Thank you very much. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and input this over here, and of course we are going to need outputs, and this will be copper bacteria, and we will have spoilage as well. So we're going to filter these to set spoilage. Alright, of course we need some power up in here as well. Perfect. Alright, and then we'll have an output of bacteria going up, and we'll have spoilage going down, which we can then put onto this belt right here. And I guess what we'll also do is we will put in stack inserter over here to filter out spoilage, which will then go onto this belt, and then the other spoilage, yeah, we can put it onto this belt here, I suppose. So let's bring this up. We'll go sideways. Up through here, like that. And I suppose what we could do is split it so half of it is going to get burned. And look at that, that turns out into... okay. We don't need a filter on this. It just needs the output. Or actually, no, that is not true. That is not true. It does need to use filters, but it needs to filter out both copper ore as well as copper bacteria. That is what we need, because otherwise it's going to put out spoilage onto the belt, and that is something that we do not want. Alright, so if we then bring this over here, we have a pretty good source of materials, I think. Interesting. And then later we need to do something with this as well. Oh, it's a bit overwhelming. I need to think. Alright, so bioflux and jelly, that is what we're already making. We could make carbon as well to burn it, I suppose. Oh, let's do that actually. So spoilage, and we have biochambers. Right, so let's do some biochambers. So we'll have this thing over here making carbon. And does it still need nutrients? Yes, it does. Okay, interesting. So it will output carbon. Let's see. Alright, like that. Filter that out, and then we still need to insert nutrients. This is already getting split over here. That's kind of nuts. Alright, so this is going to go down over here. We're going to go like that. And at the end here we have to filter out spoilage again. And that's going to go onto the side of this belt to be turned into nutrients again. What's the problem? I see what the problem is, yeah. We needed inputs. Alright, we'll do it like that. That will work. And then of course we need carbon as an output. And the carbon can be burnt in the heating towers. I suppose. But then we need to turn that into, we need some steam in here, and then we can have steam power, probably. Alright, so that goes very, very quickly. Interesting, so we definitely need more of these. So what is this? So this is an output for spoilage. Alright, so we can grab that spoilage and then that can go down in here. And that's going to work out okay for a little while. Oh man, this is complex, huh? I like it though, this is a cool puzzle. Right, so we have a good way of getting rid of too much of this spoilage. And here we are slowly but surely getting this material. Actually, maybe we shouldn't even be burning this over here. We can use it for smelting. Yeah, that is what we need to do. And smelting, we can make a smelting block, I guess. We have like electric smelting array is not what we want to do. Here we go, we have 2 of these and I couldn't find it the other time. Alright, I'm going to set up a smelting block here and then I'll be right back. Well, I changed my mind. I think what we first need to do is we can turn this into some plastic, and for that we just need biochambers. So let's start with a basic setup of 4, I suppose. Because yeah, those things don't spoil and that gives us an immediate use for our materials. So if we select this, we also just need some of these plants as well, which is perfect because it is close by. Alright, so, and with that we have an output that doesn't spoil, and that makes things slightly easier, I guess. And we can kind of stress test the factory, see how much more stuff we need of everything. And I guess here as well we can just put another splitter over here. And then we'll go ahead and put some long-handed inserters next to them. And then we'll hook that up to the power. Maybe hook it up like that. And of course this also needs nutrients, because of course it does. Why wouldn't it use nutrients, right? And this is slowly emptying out. So what else do we need for this big one? We need nutrients and then just the Yumiko mash. So if we just pick up some nutrients really quick, we can kickstart the same process down here, except we need to have at least one of these change over into the production of the nutrients, right? So let's see. We're going to have an inserter, and then we're going to make nutrients out of that stuff. Alright, so we have an input of Yumiko mash, and then we need an input of nutrients as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this over here. So we have an input over here, and then we can also input some nutrients right there. There we go. This is all going to be hooked up like so. And then this needs nutrients, so we'll feed that by hand for the time being. Alright, so that works out. And of course we need to output the set nutrients as well. And then we need to do something else, which is to get rid of the spoilage, of course, here as well. So we'll filter out the spoilage at the end of the belt. We'll make some more small electric poles by hand. And the spoilage, yeah, can go onto that belt right there. Let's say like this. Perfect. Hook up some power. So that gets rid of the spoiled stuff, and we can do the same thing over here, which we can just copy paste. Of course this will need power. Alright, and then we can have this exit over there, and that works. And we can output it on the side there as well, which is nice. And then we'll have to do the same thing over here to get rid of this spoilage, which can then feed onto that same belt. And there we have plastic. Except we need an output of said plastic, which we cannot output right now. So this might need a different output. Right? Alright, so if we bring this down over here, we can go this way, and then we can output this on the side. That is good. And then, of course, we will have to output this. Oh man. Alright, that thing needs to go. Things are tricky, but it's fine. We can put that thing on here. This thing needs to filter out plastic bars. And I think this actually, we can redo this as well, because we need to output spoilage from in here. So this stuff actually is going to filter out spoilage. Later on we'll have another one machine over there. Alright, and with that, we don't need that anymore. Alright, that works. And then for the time being, yeah, this, I guess it doesn't quite work the way I thought it would. Right, we can get rid of that arm though as well. And then we can just output on the side like that. And then we have plastic production up and running. Nice. Alright, so we just need to output that over on the side here. And then later on we just need to find a use for it, because as of right now we don't have one. But at least we are using all of these materials. You know, that is good. We can take these for the moment as well. And then over here we need to filter out spoilage as well. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, this is definitely something you need to think about a lot. Like, how do you make this expandable, right? In the meantime though, we do have extra nutrients which we could output onto this belt right here. So let's see, let's go underneath here. We'll go sideways. Alright, then we'll go underneath here. And then we can go right there. Hold on. Yeah, that doesn't quite work out, huh? We need to go up. And then we need to go sideways. And that will work. Alright. Perfect. And so with that, now we should have a better... Or maybe we need to do this slightly differently again. Because we do need nutrients over here as well. I am far off from a scalable design. Let that be clear. Holy crap. This is a puzzle, but I do really like it. This is a lot of fun. Look at that. Honestly, it's a bit nuts. Alright, so we could improve on this as well. Let's take 2 long-headed inserters. They will output over here, and they can output onto that belt like so. And that will be a little bit of assistance for this one arm who doesn't quite manage the whole output itself. Alright, cool. So everything here now is running at full speed, I think, and then we have spoiling materials on there because we are not using the plastic. Needs to be output somewhere, so let's just put 2 chests. Right. Alright, and that will keep this flowing until these chests are full anyway, but that is going to take some time. Perfect. Alright, so with that, we are on our way. And hopefully we are producing more carbon. We are. Perfect as well. Yeah, maybe later on we can maybe really expand upon this. That would be good. Because we do need a lot more of this stuff. And we could, yeah. But the problem now is, of course, we need more biochambers, and we don't have pentapod eggs. I don't have iron plates anymore, I think. Not a lot, anyway. I did bring some stuff over here, so we do have some materials to work with. So we're not completely without materials and resources. Alright, so I want to get rid of the spoilage as much as we can. We're going to get a little bit more, but I think I need to hunt for pentapod eggs again. And I see a little cluster over there. Well, I doubled our output of carbon, and that carbon is being output over towards the northeast, where I set up 4 steam engines, which is not a lot, and right now they're not even working because our productivity from the solar panels and the accumulators is more than enough to keep the factory running. So this is basically just a backup, but yeah, it's nice, you know, allows us to really pump out some extra power when we need it. And it's a resource drain that we also kind of need as well. In the meantime, this is running well, and I set up the same over here for iron ore with the bacteria, the iron bacteria, so that in the next episode we can set up some smeltings, some basic smelting. And I guess now that we have enough carbon, we can siphon some of this off for the smelting process as well, so we don't have to rely on electric smelters. Or maybe we can actually, that could also be interesting, because then we can also just expand this, you know, when we need it. But for now, this is the end of the episode. So thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like and a comment below if you enjoyed this content and wish to see more. And I'll see you guys for whatever video I do next.